I'm going to start a series of videos titled Straight No Chaser, and this video is episode 1. Right now, this series is expected to have 7 episodes, though in the future there may be more. The title of this series is ironic to me because I personally hate alcohol, but generally that phrase, straight no chaser, is about alcohol. I had to look up exactly what straight no chaser meant, although I had an idea of what it meant. It is referring to alcohol in its pure form, not mixed with anything and not followed by a non-alcoholic drink. Another definition that I found was straight means hard liquor without any mix. Another definition, literally meaning an alcoholic beverage without any added drink mixer. It's also used for anything presented purely without frills. Personally, I hate alcohol for 3 reasons. First, I don't like how it tastes. The only time I thought alcohol tasted good was when it was in a type of drink where I couldn't taste the alcohol at all. So then I thought, what's the point of drinking it? And that is a good segue to the second reason I dislike alcohol, which is the point why some consume it, which is not so much because of the taste of it, but to become physically and mentally affected by it. I want to be sober and alert with all of my faculties as fully functioning as possible. So I don't want to drink something that will make me opposite of that. The third reason I dislike alcohol, and my strongest reason for disliking it, is because of the way the use of it can physically and mentally affect people, and how that can result in hurting people. Not just the person consuming it, but the people around them. If you think the way its use can hurt people is insignificant, I suppose you have never been really hurt by it. I could go deeper on that one, how I've been hurt by it to the point where I still hate the sight of it in the aisles in grocery stores, but I won't go further. Anyway, all in all, alcohol is not for me. I wanted to add that just because I personally hate alcohol doesn't mean that someone who likes it is committing a sin if they drink it. As much as I personally would like it to be a sin to drink alcohol because I hate it so much, I must say that I saw nowhere in the Bible where drinking it is a sin. As much as I wish it was, I did not find where the Bible says it is. While it isn't a sin, I personally think that drinking it can grease the skids towards sinning or doing something that would be better not to do. And I mean, it's hard enough, I think, to do the right thing when you're sober, so I don't see any point in making it harder for myself. Personally, I think it comes down to if its use is affecting a person and the persons around them positively or not. However, you can look for yourself in the Bible about what it says about drinking alcohol, and you can consult the Lord about it. That's a whole other subject and not one I'm going to get into any further now. I just wanted to say that I did not detect anywhere in the Bible where drinking alcohol is a sin. However, drunkenness is another thing. Though the title of this series, Straight No Chaser, is ironic to me personally, I think it is appropriate because I intend to present the topics in each episode purely and not mixed with anything. Also, I think it is appropriate because how some of the topics are presented is rather strong, in my opinion, kind of like strong drink, and there will be nothing added on my part to soften it. What I mean by that is I intend to present the topics as I heard them. I have not edited what I heard, nor have I added anything. If I do add a bit of information or add some context here and there, I will let you know that I am. What do I mean when I say I intend to present the topics as I heard them? I will tell you. It has been a routine of mine since around 2015, though it started in 2012. I call it my morning prayer time, but really this is how it goes. After I get up in the morning, I get my notebook and a pen and I sit at my desk in my room. First, I write the date on a page in my notebook, and then I'll write, "Please help me write what you want, Lord." Then I wait and listen. Then I write what I hear. I feel like I'm taking dictation or something when I'm writing what I'm hearing. I listen to what the Lord is saying to me. Listening to the Lord is more enjoyable than speaking to Him, in my experience. Anyway, I write down what I'm hearing from the Lord. After that, I usually pray about various things, and that's about it. Then, with what I've written down from what I heard, I might turn into an essay or a video. The book I wrote, which I finished a few years ago, is comprised mainly of things I heard or learned from the Lord. I'm not so excessively smart that I came up with all the topics in my book and in these few videos on YouTube on my own. I'm an ordinary person. In my estimation, probably less than ordinary. I have no seminary type of education. Maybe that is obvious, and to me it would almost be a compliment if it were obvious, but I say this because I was taught by the Lord. I did not get to know and learn these things on my own or from man. By the way, if you are an ordinary person or a less than ordinary person like me, I wouldn't feel discouraged about it. I wouldn't feel badly about it. God can do the extraordinary with ordinary people. The Bible is full of examples of that. As far as the book I wrote goes, I didn't really want to write a book, except for the fact that I felt the Lord wanted me to. I didn't say to myself one day, I want to write a book. No, I didn't. It was that I felt the Lord wanted me to write it, so then I wanted to because He wanted me to, and so I did. Getting back to what I was saying about how I intend to present the topics as I heard them, I'm going to read to you what I heard as I heard it, without me reworking it or editing it, and without adding my personal experiences to support the message. I can hear from the Lord. Is that so radical? It shouldn't be, although for some reason it seems like a radical thing to say. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. That verse is plain enough, if you believe it to be true. Even so, it does feel odd to say I can hear from the Lord. Maybe it's because I personally know few people who do, or few people who say they do. I feel like I'm exposing myself a little, though somehow it feels easier to tell you, whoever is watching, that I can hear from the Lord, than to ever say I can hear from the Lord in the middle of a church gathering. Though to say I can hear from God in the middle of a church gathering should be the most comfortable place to make such a statement. I have not told anyone I hear from the Lord except my parents and one other person. One reason I have not told many people is because it is one of the most precious things in my life. It is a real treasure to me, but I am most aware that when I say I can hear from God, it sounds weird. So I have not liked to share something that is precious to me with others only for it to be received poorly. It's like a pearl that I don't want to cast before swine type of situation. Do you know what I mean? It's like sharing something that's really special to you with someone else, only for them to act like it's nonsense or garbage and that you are crazy on top of that. It would be like telling someone about a great new fishing spot you found and telling them all the details about it and what kind of fish you were able to catch at that hidden spot, what bait or lures worked well, etc., only for them to react by saying, "You probably found no such fishing spot. You are crazy for thinking you did," and that they want to hear nothing more about it. Not always, but typically, the person who says they hear from God is written off as crazy. In a lot of examples in real life, people claiming to have heard from God are crazy. I can see that. I'm not stupid, and I'm not crazy. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. I want to add that God can communicate to you in different ways. It isn't always by hearing. Also, when I hear the Lord's voice, it hasn't been audible, as in like a voice booming down from heaven. I hear it inside, like in my thoughts or in my mind is the best way I can describe it. I think it is sad when people deny that regularly hearing God is possible for the most ordinary Christian. Some have gone so far as to mock it and say something like, "Do you want to hear from God? Then read the Bible out loud." In cases such as that, I just feel sorry for them. Certainly, anything you are hearing from God is not going to contradict the Bible, but reading the Bible is not the only way God speaks. I feel as if this hearing from God ability is taboo even in the church. I could go on about this, but I'll hold myself back except for saying, how do Christians expect the gifts of prophecy, or word of knowledge, or word of wisdom to happen in church if one does not hear from God these things and then speaks them? The fact is, these gifts are largely not expected to happen in church. Even when I'm in church groups, I feel the need to be covert in how I relay something I heard from the Lord in order to be heard and not written off. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if I just blurted out, "God told me something," people generally recoil from that. Instead, if I'm led by the Lord to share it at all, I just leave out that God told it to me and I just say it. It feels like a smart thing to do, and ridiculous at the same time. Smart in that I want to present things in a way to be heard, but ridiculous that I should need to be so careful about saying I heard something from God while in church. In church, where other believers are. Other believers of the same God and the same Bible that I believe, yet to say I heard from God is somehow unfitting or radical or unbelievable. Anyway, I'm kind of over being covert about something that should be common in church. So here we go. This is new and different for me to be so open like this, but here we go. In each of these Straight No Chaser episodes, I will be sharing with you what I heard as I heard it. It can mean whatever it's supposed to mean to whoever hears it. I have not edited it and haven't added anything. It's straight. Also, I'm not out to prove I heard from God in any way. You have the Bible and the Holy Spirit to help you, and you can judge for yourselves if you think it is from God or not. Episodes 1 through 6 I heard in June of this year, 2022. Episode 7 I heard on July 30th, 2020. This first reading of what I heard is somewhat short, just so you know. I find that the things I hear from the Lord are packed densely. There is little, if any, fluff and filler, so I need to pay attention as I listen. It is written as He was speaking it to me. The title of this segment of what I heard is, Did You Expect It Wouldn't Cost You Anything? My own, some of mine are moving forward, and some of mine are remaining behind because of their own choices. They may publicly pray for certain things, like humility and to become more like me, but in the choices they make and in the submitting to the flesh they're doing instead of putting it to death, they are demonstrating where their heart is, the condition of it, and how much they want what they ask me for. They ask me for these things, and yet when the opportunity is presented to them to receive and grow in these things they've asked or prayed for, they do not take it. The flesh didn't die, and it must, to grow to become more like me. So, child, they ask, but do not receive, because they do not want to put to death the flesh. Child of mine, one can pray or ask me, but are they sincere? Do they want this kind of life in me at a cost? Or do they get uncomfortable at the slightest opposition by the flesh? Child of mine, I have taught you the feel the burn lesson. That uncomfortableness of the flesh is exactly what one should notice and then push past to grow. I have taught you this, but some of mine are exceptionally resistant to this death to the flesh. Their resistance aided by pride, arrogance, stubbornness, and fear. They need not fear the death of the flesh, for life results from this. What is of more concern is letting the flesh live, for doing so means death. This is not always clearly seen, daughter, but this is what is going on. I tell you this, child, so that you will know, so that you will understand and see. So that is what I heard. The feel the burn lesson that is mentioned is referring to something the Lord taught me, and I subsequently wrote in a chapter in my book. Chapter 82, called The Burn.